Hello everyone. A warm good morning, good afternoon, or good evening based on the time zone that you are in, and welcome to Virtual Dreaming. My name is Meera Nair, and I would like to take you through a brief session on Salesforce solution design considering performance metrics. Before we start, I would like to thank our event sponsors and non-profit charity partners who helped to raise funds for COVID-19 support activities. A little about myself. I am currently working as a Salesforce architect in USD Global, Trivandrum, India. I have around 13 years of IT experience, 11 of which has been on the Salesforce platform. I have worked with many Fortune 50 customers who, of course, have got very large Salesforce implementations with lot of customization in their org, which definitely led to performance issues around record save time, frequent one-on-one SOQL issues, and page load performance. Having worked on resolving these performance issues, I would like to share my experience with all of you. I will be taking you through some sample Salesforce scenarios and different solution options for that. Then let us track performance metrics to see which is going to be the best solution for us. This is our first scenario. I would like to concatenate opportunity name with account name whenever a new opportunity is getting created. As an example, if the account name is account ABC and opportunity name is opportunity XYZ, once the opportunity record is saved, I would like to see the opportunity name as account ABC hyphen opportunity XYZ. Salesforce is providing multiple solution options for this simple scenario. You will be able to implement this using a workflow or process builder or a flow which makes fast field update or a before update trigger. This is our first solution which is using a workflow field update. Before going to the solution details, the first important thing that you need to do is that you need to enable debug log for your user which is going to execute the particular solution scenario. Let me show you. This is my debug level. And you need to make sure that all your debug categories, that is database, workflow, and Apex code should be at the finest level. Also, you need to make sure that the Apex profiling is also at the finest level, because if the Apex profiling is finest, then only you will be able to capture governor limits related details. So let us come back to the first solution. And when you are going through the debug log, also you need to capture some performance metrics. This includes total execution time, solution time, which is the time just consumed for making the field update, the number of DML statement got executed, and number of SQL queries got executed. Our first solution is a workflow field update. I'm sure I don't need to explain this in details. This is just a field update where we are appending account name with the opportunity name. Our second solution is process builder, which also follow the same criteria as workflow. Third scenario is a flow operation. But you might be thinking, if we have got a process builder solution, why we need to go with a flow solution? The difference is in the order of execution. That is, if we have a process builder, it is always getting executed once the record is saved to the database. That means a process builder field update is going to consume a DML statement always. Whereas if we mark a flow as fast field update, let me show you how you can mark a flow as fast field update. This is my flow which actually updates account name with opportunity name, and when you click on the start button, you can see there is an option called new or updated records. Flow makes fast field update. So when you check this option, automatically the flow will be getting executed as a before save operation, and there is no need for you to consume an additional DML statement when it is getting executed. And this is our last solution, which is using a before update trigger scenario. We need to see how we can capture performance details from the debug log. For that, let us go to developer console. And this is one of my debug log which is corresponding to the process builder execution, and this is the normal view of debug log. Under debug, you can see a switch perspective option, and when you click on that, you need to choose analysis option. Once you select the analysis option, you will be getting a view like this Here you can see multiple tabs, and when you go to execution overview tab, you can see a limits tab. Under that, in limits tab, you can see the total available governor limits, and also you can see how many of this you have consumed as of now. The other important tab is stack tree. Under stack tree, you can see execution tree and performance tree tabs. Execution tree gives you more detailed view of each of your operation with the duration consumed for that. But if you wanted to get a high level details of your transaction time, go to performance tree, and if you expand that, you can see those details. Here you can see like my total operation, the opportunity save operation has consumed around 259 milliseconds, whereas the actual opportunity record update operation with the account name just consumed 165.37 millisecond. This is how you need to capture all the matrices. Now let us go back to our presentation. Using this approach, basically I have captured all the matrices for each of our solution. This is for a workflow, this is for process builder, flow, and this is for trigger. Only for workflow you can see there is no limit usage because it is not consuming any DML or SOQL statements. Let us see a tabular representation of this so that this will be more clear from a comparison perspective. I have captured the details for a single record operation and also for a bulk operation. Now let us see the details of single record insert operation. If you consider execution time, that is the total execution time for the opportunity save operation, you can see the workflow is consuming 189 milliseconds, whereas a process builder is consuming a total of 369 milliseconds. And if you see the solution time, that is the time taken to just perform the field update operation, it is only 51 milliseconds for a workflow, whereas 270 for a process builder. You can see there is a marginal difference in the solution time. And if you go to DML statements, that is number of DML statement executed, only a process builder is consuming one DML statement. And if you come to SOQL, you can see a workflow is not consuming any SOQL statement, whereas trigger, flow, and process builder consuming one SOQL statement each. And if you go to bulk operation record transaction details, you can see the execution time, total execution time for a workflow is 238, but for a process builder, it is 810. So the difference is getting higher here. What could be the reason? This is because how process builder is getting executed for bulk record. Even if the process builder is bulkified, at the back end for bulk operations, the logic is getting executed for each record, and at the end only it's combining all the results and making it as a single operation. So if you consider the transaction time and DML and SOQL, what might be consuming less time or what might be our best solution? Definitely a workflow, right? Because it's consuming less time and it's not consuming any DML or SOQL statement. Now let us see some more complex scenario. This is my second scenario where I would like to concatenate and populate child contact country value to parent account. This is an after update scenario, right? Suppose if I have got two contacts, contact 1 and contact 2 under account, and if the country values are India and China, after save in account, I would like to populate its country value as India, China. Again, Salesforce has got multiple solution options for this scenario. Let us see the different options. Using Process Builder, you have got two solutions. Using a flow and using an invocable method. Using trigger also, you have got two options. An after update trigger and an asynchronous trigger. We can also consider queuable Apex. I'm sure like Salesforce might be providing other solution options also, but for time being, I'm just considering these 5 scenarios. Same like what we have done in the previous case, here also you need to capture all the metrics while you are executing each of the solution. And first one is Process Builder with flow. Because of time constraint, I'm not explaining the solution in detail. Second option is Process Builder with invocable Apex. This is almost same as flow. After update trigger, this is also a traditional approach, so I'm sure I don't need to explain the logic in detail. Queuable Apex, the major difference compared to the trigger solution with this queuable Apex is that Queuable Apex operation is getting always executed asynchronously. That is, your current transaction is not getting affected with the actual record save or record update on account object. Now, I will take some time to explain asynchronous trigger option. I think this is a Spring 19 feature and some of you might have already used this particular option. So what is asynchronous trigger? Like the name says, the trigger is going to get executed asynchronously and it is not going to affect your current transaction. But how you will be able to generate asynchronous trigger? For that, the important thing that you need to do is that enable change data capture for the object for which you need to execute asynchronous trigger. In our scenario, it is contact. But Salesforce has got some limitations on the CDC operation. For a normal org, you can have only 5 objects for which you will be able to enable change data capture. And if you want to enable it for additional objects, you need to contact Salesforce to get additional license. And this is available for all custom objects, but for specific standard objects. So before you decide on your solution, you may need to check like whether asynchronous operation is available for that particular object. In addition to that, there are some limitations on number of events that can be published daily. So once you enable change data capture, what it is doing, whenever we are executing some kind of operation on contact, that is, if you are creating a new contact or updating an existing contact, you are deleting a contact or undeleting a contact. In all these 4 scenarios, a new record or a change event will be getting created and getting inserted to an object called contact change event. So for whichever object you have enabled CDC, a change event object will be getting created. The other important thing to notice is that if you want to track the debug details for this particular operation, you need to enable debug log for automated process. That is, the trace entity type should be automated process. Now let us see the object structure for a contact change event. This is how it looks like. There is a header component where you will be able to see the operation type. For example, if it is an insert, you can see it as create operation. If it is update, you will be seeing this change type as update. After the header component, you will be able to see all the field details of the newly getting created contact. If it is create operation, you will be able to see all the details here. But if it is an update operation, you will be seeing only the fields which just got updated. And if you see the trigger details, right, it's almost same as a normal contact trigger. But only difference is that instead of contact, the trigger is going to getting executed on contact change event. This operation is always going to be an after insert operation because for each kind of change, insert or update or delete, a new record is getting inserted to contact change event. Then you can iterate over each of the record, collect the account IDs, and you will be able to perform your respective action. Now, let us see the execution summary of each of this operation. Here also I have captured the metrics for a single record insert and also for a bulk record insert. For single record insert, you can see that a PB plus flow solution is consuming around 382 milliseconds. PB plus Apex 250, trigger 248. For async and queuable Apex, you can see there are 2 entries. This is because the first one, if you see for async 144 milliseconds, right? This 144 milliseconds is the original transaction time. That is the time taken to save your contact record. But the actual update operation on account is happening asynchronously. So that time is shown here as 104 milliseconds. Same case for queuable Apex also, you will be able to see 2 entries. And if you just consider the solution time, you can see for PB plus flow it is 220, which is high compared to all other operations here. You can see that always the code solution is consuming less time compared to PB plus flow solution. And if you see the DML count is same for all the solution scenarios. The major difference comes in SOQL. You can see a PB plus flow is consuming 3 SOQLs, whereas all other operations are consuming just 1. Now let us see like why a PB plus flow solution is consuming 3 SOQL statements. Let us go back to that particular solution. And I will show you like how it is consuming 3 SOQLs. Here you can see from the process builder to the flow I am passing a list of contact IDs. This list of contacts IDs we are getting from the contacts parent account. That is, from process builder you will be able to retrieve all the contacts associated with the parent account. This is consuming one SQL statement. Second thing is, since you want to update account record, you need to get account record details. This get record operation is also consuming one SQL statement. And the last one is on the update record statement. As per process builder and flow DML execution details, each DML is consuming one SQL plus one DML. That's where the third SQL statement is coming from. Now, if you see the invocable Apex solution, right, the only SQL is consuming where we have the select operation. That is where you are going to select all the contacts for that particular account. Now, let us see the graphical representation of the transaction details. Here it is clearly visible that async and queuable operation is consuming very less time only. So definitely, if you are still within the governor limits of async and queuable Apex, you can definitely use async. I think even queuable has got some governor limits. That is, in a single transaction, you can have only maximum 50 queuable Apex getting executed. Let us see the analysis summary. If the scenario is a before save and if the logic is simple, workflow field update or a task creation, you can always go ahead with a workflow solution. This is because it's not consuming any governor limits and also the performance is much better. But if the scenario or the logic is somewhat complex, you can go ahead with either trigger or a flow solution. If the performance is a major concern for you, always go ahead with a trigger scenario. But if you don't have enough time to implement a trigger logic and execute test class and all, you can always go ahead with a flow, which is executing a fast field update. Now, if we consider after save scenario like we have seen on the country population on parent account, if you are still within the governor limits of asynchronous execution, you can either go ahead with the asynchronous solution option or queuable Apex. But if maintenance is a real concern for you, then you can go ahead with PB plus invocable method option because it is consuming less time compared to a PB plus flow solution. Another important note that normally whenever you are doing a development as part of unit testing, you will be performing functionality testing and probably a bulk testing also. But based on my opinion, in addition to the basic functionality testing, you should also do a performance analysis and governor limits. Performance analysis means how many more minutes or how many more transaction time got added by your current solution. Governor limits means how many more XOQL queries or how many more DML statements are added by your current solution. So these all parameters defines if your solution is a best option for that particular scenario. Let us cover one more topic which is related to query optimization. Because we have faced performance issues because of SQL performance issues also. There are multiple options available to improve your SQL performance. And there are multiple blogs and YouTube videos available which explains you how to use query plan tool to improve the performance. Because of time constraint, I am not going to all those details, but I would like to highlight a scenario which we faced, which is with respect to deleted records in recycle bin. How deleted records in recycle bin is going to affect the performance of a query. Let us say that using a sample scenario. For explaining this scenario, I have bulk inserted a set of accounts to my account object and executed this query. And you can see that this query is consuming around 33.55 milliseconds. After this, I deleted those records and executed the query again. Now you can see this query is just consuming 15 milliseconds. But based on Salesforce documentation, even if you are deleting a record, it will still remain in your recycle bin for 15 more days. And Salesforce still considers that it exists in your database, and when query is getting executed, it still considers the records in your recycle bin. So what I have done, I have deleted all the records in my recycle bin manually and executed the query again. Now you can see the total time taken by that particular query is just 7.10 milliseconds. And if you see the graphical representation of this query performance, you can see 53% of query performance got improved by removing records from recycle bin. The record deletion operation can happen through an integration process or from your code. If it is happening from your code, you can execute database.empty recycle bin method to permanently delete or to mark those records for hard delete operation. Even if you perform hard delete, it can remain in your recycle bin 24 more hours, and if you want to get it deleted before that, you can contact Salesforce to perform that. And if the records are getting deleted through integration process, you can always create a batch process which is looking into recycle bin for records which are getting deleted, and you can perform this hard delete operation. I hope this piece of information was helpful for you. And these are some resources I referred for preparing for my session. Here comes something very exciting. There is a treasure hunt that you can participate. The only thing that you need to do is that go to this vd.force.com site and enter this particular coupon code. Please make a note that this coupon is valid just for 60 more minutes. Thank you so much for joining my session, and I hope this was very helpful. Now it is time for a small Q&A. Please go ahead with your questions.